Business as Unusual is a thought-provoking podcast that explores the innovative strategies, disruptive ideas, and unconventional practices driving successful leaders and companies in the ever-evolving world of modern business. Subscribe, comment, and share for weekly inspiration with our host, Aisala.
Welcome to week 3, the final week of the Setting Your Intentions for 2025 mini podcast series that I'm doing. This week we're going to talk about planning and prioritizing your actions for 2025. So typically when people think about planning, this is where they start. They start with identifying priorities and actions. And one of the reasons that I encourage people to start with the review, both of their goals and their year and also their energy, is that once again, you can tweak what you're doing to prevent potential problems. So if you find that you are really spending more time than you have, or drawing on your creative energy, or even leaning on your relationship more than is sustainable, before you make your plans and your priorities, you want to allocate for that as well. Say, okay, this year I'm going to do more with my family, or I'm going to nurture that relationship, or I'm going to offload some of my time activities. What I'm going to do is just talk to you about some of the guiding questions and give you some examples of what I mean by a goal and a priority. For this week, I'm going to walk you through an example of how to identify a priority and possible tactics for your goals. Then you can do this in each of your separate goals. And this will help you create an actionable and achievable strategy for 2025. Today, we're going to touch real quick on those strengths and gaps that we talked about. So if you still have that, or go back and listen to those episodes, and then identifying those necessary actions that will help you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and then ways that you're going to prioritize those actions. And that will include considering both their importance and their feasibility. And then we'll spend a little bit more time on this probably, which is making room for your priorities. One of those things that I hammer on a lot, as you'll hear, is really being realistic about your available time and energy and how you replenish that. Often a business owner will have a goal around revenues. So if we take the examples from week 2 for project 1 and 2, and we say that for that business owner, they want to increase revenue by 15%. And then we look at their business activities, and they have some, we'll call it time optimism. Both of their priority activities take a lot of time to implement. Together, both of the projects offer balance to the business owner in every way except for time. So in order to increase revenue, this business owner will need to reduce the time they spend. So if their goal is to increase revenue, their priority would be to reduce the time they spend on service delivery. Tactics that they could consider: remove a product from their lineup, focus on expanding an existing one that is more balanced or requires less time, add a product that uses less of their time and then focus on building that, hire someone to manage an aspect of their business or product delivery or one of those projects that is currently taking time that they need, automate an aspect of their process, or find a tool they could use to reduce the effort or increase efficiency. So that's that difference, right? Like there's a goal, increase revenue. There's a priority, reduce time spent. And then there's the tactics that can be applied. The other part of this that I want to bring in is considerations. For example, if they remove a product from their offering, will that reduce their revenue? And if so, do they have funds to bridge that time, which is often 6 to 12 months? New products can take a long time to gain traction. In addition to the tactic, then also there needs to be some strategy around how to build that traction, or how to transition the business or the product so that the business owner isn't in a different type of crunch. Solopreneurs are notoriously bad at making their internal processes external. We often wear all the hats, and we even like our multi-hat fashion statement. I mean, I do. Hiring someone typically requires externalizing some aspect of your work and taking the time to really teach someone what you need. It can be a big upfront cost of time and money. How will you create space for that so that you can set them up for success? I had a person on my show a couple of years ago who said the best advice that they got when they started their business was to hire experts as opposed to entry-level workers. And that's where this can be a really great tip. So for example, if you need to offload maybe some of your communications, you could hire a virtual assistant, and that can be the right way to go. Or you could find a fractional CMO, someone that really understands what needs to be done. And there's still an interview process because it has to be the right fit. But you could find somebody that has that sort of managerial level approach to things so that they can actually carry that load. And while it would be more financially costly, it would likely get you into a smoother functioning of your business and be a shorter runway to really getting that time back effectively. So once again, these considerations they're multifaceted, so there's not really going to be a right answer. They're simply the best answer and solution for your business, your personality, and your current needs. Automation. Consideration around automation is that it can be its own rabbit hole. Be strategic and cautious in evaluating options. Don't try to over-automate. That can be its own challenge. I absolutely fall prey to that. I want everything to work in this, the Incredible Machine kind of way. So just be careful. Really try to identify in this same place what's the priority for automation and what's going to take more time and tweaking than simply having a person step in. And that's also another place where automation combined with a virtual assistant can be really helpful. So let's look at your whole picture. And then tools. Similar to hiring people, will need your time and attention to set up and evaluate. And don't get too attached to a single tool. Be very thoughtful about what you're using and how you're using it and how much of your time and attention it's taking. Really look at your system. I use a lot of tools. My friends and colleagues kind of tease me for it. And I absolutely go through a process of saying, is this tool working for me? Is it giving me what I need? And I am willing to give them up when that's not true. And I encourage you to be as well. The last thing that we'll talk about is anticipating potential challenges. So if you are like this business owner in Project 1 and Project 2, someone that tends to respond to things with time, really identify what things will get your time and how you prioritize the way that you give your time to things. So that would be the challenge, is that you default to spending your time on things, and then your strategies might be stopping and asking yourself, is this my job? Or is this my job? Or perhaps you make a list of things that you work on first, so that then you can kind of determine where that fits and if it's something that you've given to somebody. It's also very important when you hand someone a project that you let them do it. And I know this can be challenging because you have a way in your head that you think it should be, and other people are going to do a good job. Like if you hired someone, trust your hiring. Absolutely, especially up front when people are learning, it's great to check in a lot, ask to review things before they go out if it's email. And then once you've really established that rapport, let it go. Let it go. That's a hard one, but it's really important. And this is my last podcast for 2024. I have been recording and getting ready for 2025. I'm already excited about my guests and the things we're going to be talking about. I'm going to mix in some podcasts like this that talk about things that I'm working on with people or things that I've developed that I think might be helpful, so that if you're needing a little bit of support in your strategy, here's a free resource. And I will keep the handouts and things on my website. I'll be doing some of these with tips and tricks and things that I'm learning and things that I'm working with other folks on. You'll stay tuned and absolutely let me know if there's something that you want me to cover. I do office hours about once a month. They're totally free. You can just hop in and ask a question or co-work, and really working to make 2025 a great year in the ways that I have influence. And I hope that you are able to spend time with your family and friends doing things that are connective and grounding for you. And stay in touch, and I'll see you again in probably the second week of January. Stay in touch, and I'll see you the second week of January with season 4 of Business as Unusual. I hope you enjoy the show. I love making it. If you did enjoy it, consider hopping over to the review portion of the platform you listen on and letting other people know about it. Or share the episode or the entire show with a friend or subscribe to the show. Definitely reach out, get on my newsletter, follow me on social media, and let me know what you like, what you don't like, and what you'd like to see in the future. While we love our guests, appearance on the Business as Unusual podcast or any Bicurean consulting production is for information purposes only and is not to be considered an endorsement of their business practices, or character. Please properly vet anyone you find through this podcast and generally before you do any business with them. Thank you for listening.